Welcome to This Explainer. Let's jump right into a scenario that is practically universally understood. Picture this. A simple text message is sent out, and it just sits there, completely unanswered. The screen is blank, and suddenly, a perfectly normal, relaxed day goes totally off the rails into absolute chaos. Well, today, we're going to explore exactly how to stop overthinking and, more importantly, how to finally take back control of the mind.
Has one tiny little thought ever turned into a massive, unstoppable story? You know the feeling. A single thought bubbles up, and before long, those bubbles are multiplying like crazy, exploding into this giant, chaotic web that takes over everything. Someone doesn't reply to a message, and the wondering starts. Maybe there's some anger involved. Was a mistake made? Next thing you know, a full-blown argument is happening in the brain with someone who isn't even in the room. That right there is overthinking. And the most frustrating part? People usually know it's happening, but just demanding the brain to stop literally never works.
Section 1. The Trap of Overthinking. Let's look at why the brain actually does this.
To actually break this cycle, it's absolutely crucial to understand what's going on behind the scenes. See, the brain treats uncertainty like a massive problem that demands an immediate answer. Imagine the mind as this highly complex, super busy control room. Flashing red alarm lights are spinning, sirens are blaring, all over a totally minor everyday situation. The mind encounters uncertainty and instantly shifts into overdrive, hunting for a concrete answer. It falsely assumes that if it just keeps analyzing long enough, a perfect, flawless answer is somehow going to magically appear.
Moving on to Section 2, Searching for Impossible Answers. This is all about the hunt for certainty.
The real core of the issue here is that the mind tirelessly searches for answers to completely unanswerable uncertainties, things like another person's thoughts, or the exact events of tomorrow, or a classic one, trying to change a conversation that already happened days ago. The brain just endlessly searches for certainty in these impossible areas. It is physically impossible to know exactly what someone else is thinking, right? And the past definitely cannot be altered. Yet the search relentlessly continues, and that turns normal, healthy thinking into a totally exhausting, draining trap.
Section 3. Healthy thinking versus overthinking. So what's the actual difference?
It boils down to this. Healthy thinking asks, what can be done right now? This naturally leads straight to action. It's like standing firmly in a bright, calm, present moment, taking real, practical steps forward. On the flip side, overthinking asks, what if everything goes wrong? And that keeps a person completely stuck. It's like being physically trapped in a dark, spinning hamster wheel, running to the point of pure exhaustion but going absolutely nowhere. Healthy thinking means prepping clothes for tomorrow's interview. Overthinking means imagining 10 different ruined futures until the physical body starts reacting like those disasters are happening right this very second.
Which brings us to Section 4, Escaping the What-If Spiral.
Because one single worry rarely stays isolated, does it? Enter the infamous what-if monster. The brain suddenly shouts, what if failure happens? And boom, the spiral starts to twist. One panicked question instantly spawns another, spinning faster and faster. Then it's, what will people think? The tension is building, the speed is cranking up. The imaginary problems begin piling up, stacking higher and higher, completely yanking the mind away from actual reality.
And then the ultimate, what if the future is completely ruined? Panic hits absolute peak. The mind is utterly surrounded by terrifying imaginary monsters, effectively living 5 entire years in a totally fake, disastrous future that hasn't even happened yet.
Okay, let's take a deep breath here and drastically slow things down. Stop treating every thought like a fact. This phrase is the crucial turning point. This is where stepping completely outside that chaotic thought bubble becomes possible, allowing observation from a calm distance. Just because the brain produces a sentence doesn't mean that sentence is actually true.
A thought is simply not a fact. Always ask for actual, tangible evidence. If the brain is screaming, rejection has occurred, well, the actual, grounded fact might just be that the text message has no reply yet. That is it. The trick is forcing the brain to separate reality from a runaway imagination. Instead of wondering if a fearful thought is true, demand to see the actual evidence.
Maybe, but the future is unknown. This is the ultimate calming phrase used to completely disarm that what-if spiral. When the mind starts spiraling into total disaster scenarios, this phrase shuts it down without having to pretend everything will be picture perfect. It's simply a flat refusal to treat an imaginary, unwritten future like a documented reality.
Section 5, Taking Back Your Control.
It's time to break the loop. Let's dive into some highly actionable techniques to regain power over the mind today. Step 1, ask if action is possible right now. Step 2, if yes, take action. Step 3, if no, let the thought pass. This simple, logical process shifts energy completely away from the chaotic storm and roots everything firmly back into grounded, present-moment reality. If an exam is approaching, study. If an apology is owed, send it. Turn the thought into immediate action. But if no action is possible, continuing to dwell on it only repeats the fear and solves absolutely nothing.
Another key rule: do not argue with the brain. Simply name the thought by saying, "Overthinking is happening again." Trying to force thoughts away by yelling "stop" at the brain only creates another frustrating layer. Suddenly, the brain is overthinking about overthinking. Instead, just gracefully notice the thought. Naming it creates vital distance. It takes a person out of the looping thought and turns them into an observer who's simply watching it happen from the outside.
It also helps to give the brain a strict finish line by setting a clear time boundary. If the exact same worry keeps returning, schedule a specific time for it, say 15 minutes at 7 o'clock. When the thought pops up at noon, politely inform the brain, "Not right now, this will be handled at 7. This teaches the mind a really powerful lesson. Every single problem doesn't require an instant, immediate solution. By setting that strict boundary, the problem often feels significantly smaller when that scheduled time finally arrives.
At the end of the day, overthinking is just a false quest for a guarantee that everything will be okay. Uncovering this reveals the absolute deepest root of the problem, the deeply ingrained human desire for absolute certainty. People want to know for sure that success is guaranteed, that relationships are rock solid, that tomorrow will be perfectly safe. But life never actually gives those guarantees. Excellent preparation is always possible, but controlling every single outcome, that is a mathematical impossibility.
The future is unknown, and the answer isn't needed right now. This is the final, freeing payoff. Imagine standing there completely calm, grounded, and peaceful. Those chaotic thought clouds are no longer heavy burdens. They simply float past like normal weather in the sky. The absolute healthiest thing to tell the mind is that knowing the end of the story right now is simply not required.
So, will the next thought be just a passing cloud, or will it become a storm? The mind is always going to produce thoughts. Some will be brilliantly useful, some will be completely wrong, and some will feel overwhelmingly, terrifyingly real. But true power lies in how those thoughts are handled. Stepping back, observing the clouds, and choosing not to get swept away is entirely possible. Choosing to observe rather than absorb changes absolutely everything.